Okay, Chet, here you go. You requested that I do readings for you. This is reading number 1, and you had requested career, as I recall. So that's what we're going to do. You're familiar with the process. I've read for you before. I'm just shuffling until the cards tell me to stop. Okay. First card represents you, which is a 3 of Pentacles. Second card is what crosses you. I always read the card that crosses you right side up. This one is a 2 of Swords. Distant past foundation, that's anything over about 3 months, sometimes 6, depending on the situation. This card is the Tower card, which I'll get to in a minute. More recent events, this is usually about 3 to 6 months in the past. This is another major arcana card, the Sun. Then you have your current situation, which is usually about 6 weeks prior to 3 to 6 months in the future. This one is an Elemental of Swords. Then we have your little bit further down the line in the future. This one is usually at least 6 months in the future. This one is Justice reversed. I will flip the remaining cards and go over the positions here momentarily. Once we get through the other readings, that's my personal preference to flip those last 4 cards last. So, starting from the beginning, 3 of Pentacles. Pentacles generally signify money or finances, and especially in a career type reading. In this situation, overall, you're in a pretty good place, and yeah, things could probably be a little bit better, but ultimately, you're not really hurting. I don't get the feeling that you are really struggling as far as finances go. In general, you're in a pretty good place, but you also want to know what's to come, where things are going, and so on. The 2 of Swords is what crosses you. It literally sits like this. I always read this card right side up. With the 2 of Swords, you almost feel like you're fighting blind. That is likely for several different reasons. Maybe the powers that be, the ones that employ you, could possibly be keeping things from you. You could be fighting things from your past that are getting in the way of where you're at currently with your career choice. Looking at things, though, I very much get the feeling that you almost feel like you're treading water. And part of the reason for that happens to do with the Tower card, which is in your distant past foundation. That would be this card. In your distant past major arcana, keep in mind, if you have watched prior readings that I've done, for those who haven't seen my videos, major arcana is help from beyond, whether it be your higher power, spirit guides, or what have you, guardian angels. In this particular situation, the Tower card represents a major monumental life event. That in this case is something that is completely life-changing. And yes, I realize I just repeated myself, but it bears repeating. Think of things like job changes, or things like perhaps a marriage or a proposal or a death of a loved one, or a move physically, like from not just on a career level, but physical locations. This is anything over 6 months old. usually within about the 3 to 6 month mark. However, very much there is a feeling of turbulence. You've had some pretty life-changing events going on. Moving a little bit more recently into the past, you have the sun, which tells me actually a few different things. I happen to know you on a personal level, so I am not going to give away identifying details for you, but I do know that in your little bit more recent, we'll go 3 to 6 months in the past, you've definitely had some help from a higher power or a spirit guide, something of that nature that has helped you get through those challenges, things where you were really struggling and you needed that bright of spot of sun, that glimmer to help get you through. I very much had the feeling that to a large extent this bit of sun isn't career based. This bit of sun is very personal to you. This is friends, family, people that you know that are getting you through whatever the previous issues were that you were struggling with. The Elemental of Swords is your current situation where you're at, which is kind of odd because we're talking about a career, but I'm telling you that this is also your other reading comboed in with this. You had requested that I do a family reading for you. I was going to do 2 separate readings, but the way this is playing out so far, the two are interconnected. It's almost like they're one and the same. And obviously, family and work are 2 totally different things, but on this level, it's almost like a reawakening. This is the Elemental of Swords. This is a card that is right side up. This is almost like a rebirth. It's like you are finding your passion again. You are starting to get your bearings, or starting to get your feet under you a little bit. I very much do pick up on movement, whether that be a shifting gears on a career base, which is also quite possible. I also feel that there is movement in your interpersonal relationships, your familial relationships. This could very well be a physical move, but it is also, think of it like a dawn of a new light. And almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes. You're really kind of coming into yourself and getting a bit of a much needed breather. Justice reversed tells me that you do have some stuff coming up. This is in your future. This is stuff that you kind of think you planned for everything, but there's really no way that you can. This is 3 to 6 months down the line. This is something that you can change. Be on the lookout, be watchful and mindful of your interactions and things that you were doing at work. Be watchful and mindful of your interactions with the people around you. I know that you happen to be like myself and my family, where a lot of your personal relationships you end up with friendships that very much feel like and become like family to you, and that's okay. Not everybody that you interact with at work and at home has your back. And there is a very much, wow, you have a couple of people that it feels like you need to kind of be aware of, and I very much have the feeling that you have a really good idea of who these people are. They're people that you've kind of maybe wondered about before, and maybe trust your gut on this one. Also, before you sign any contracts in the near future, read the fine print. That is a big one that is coming through with this. You need to be aware of what the fine print says, or you're going to get screwed on the ass end of things. So moving forward, keeping in mind Justice is another major arcana card, and it is reversed. Not all help that is given is help that you like, but it is help that you need. So we're going to move forward to the rest of the reading. This card represents you. This is you according to the questions, in this case, plural, that you asked, but also according to the surrounding cards. This is the Fool, right side up. And no, it's not saying you're a fool, but it is another major arcana card. This is the base card, the 0 card. And it goes very much with the 2 of Swords that is crossing you. What keeps coming through, Chet, is you feel blind. It's like you are walking blind through a fog that is thicker than pea soup. And you're kind of reaching out blind, grasping for straws, looking for direction on where to go. I feel that you are kind of projecting that, at least that's what is coming through with the reading. And this is kind of a generalized thing. It's almost like you're treading water. This is on a career level. This is your interpersonal relationships, both with your friends, your family, friends who are like family, just broad spectrum. In some ways, you almost feel like you're being played for a fool. And going with this Justice card reversed, you kind of are. Be aware. Looking at it, be aware. So now we have your environments, and as you know, I always flip the cards like this. This is the 6 of Pentacles, right side up. This is a positive card. This tells me that you are doing quite well in your workplace, and you really don't have anything to fear. This is a very positive card. Again, be aware of the fine print of any contracts, and trust your gut on this one. You tend to be an emotional human. We all do to a certain extent. Trust your gut on whether or not to accept anything on a work level. I get the feeling that you are going to probably be approached for work outside of where you're currently working. It might be subcontracting somewhere. It might be picking up a side gig. Could be a side hustle or passive income. Goes back into the reading, the fine print over here. You need to kind of pick your battles and look at who and what you would be getting into, and learn your lesson from before. You've had some pretty hard lessons to learn on a career level before. You have in general, so far, you have the ability to kind of breathe a little bit, but don't self-sabotage, which is kind of what I'm looking at here and here and here. But let's look at your hopes and fears. So let's flip this card. 2 of Pentacles, right side up. This tells me that you are afraid of repeating past cycles with career. This is very much fear. You have a lot of fear surrounding your work, and whether you want to call it fear, you want to call it anxiety, there's a lot of stress there, and I don't get the feeling that you really need to stress out as much as you possibly are. In fact, as much as I know you are. I feel like there's a lot of anxiety there where it's more self-generated. You're kind of jumping down rabbit holes versus kind of looking at things in a little bit more logical fashion. And it's really hard to take a step back and be objective when looking at things, instead of attaching an emotional what's the word I'm looking for? An emotional, not necessarily attachment, but attaching your feelings to certain situations where you need to be a little bit more objective. But this, you're going to be fine. You fear and have anxiety that you're not going to be fine. That's clear here. But let's see what the final outcome card says. And strength. Right side up. This is the final outcome according to the question, or in this case, questions that you asked and the surrounding cards. Yes, you've had some pretty shitty moments in general. You've had some moments that have completely rocked your world. But even with the anxiety, even with the fear, even with everything that is going on, both at work, at home, interpersonal relationships, and so on, you are stronger than you think you are. You will get through this on all levels, and you will come out stronger for it. You have to believe in you, and you have to know without a shadow of a doubt that you are okay. And if you aren't okay, then figure out what it's going to take for you to be okay. Is it going to be getting out into the mountains and getting some food for the soul, as I like to call it? Maybe you need to go fishing. Maybe you need to go and just go for a drive, turn up the tunes really loud and just roar it out. Maybe you need to just sit back with your thoughts for a little bit, maybe do some journaling, maybe write a letter or two that you're never gonna send. You can send them via lighting it on fire or tearing it up and throwing it away or distributing it to the wind, whatever. In general though, both at work and with your relationships, and both at home and at work and so on, you're going to be okay. This card could not have come in a better position for the reading at hand. And like I said, I was going to simply do a career-based reading for you, but career and your home life and relationships and stuff kind of intermelded together on me. Didn't anticipate it coming, but it did, and here we are. This is one of the best cards you could get for a single reading, let alone what ended up being a combo reading. And oh, I'm getting goosebumps. You've got this. You've got this more than you realize. You've got this. And you will be okay. That is exactly what this tells me, is give it a little bit of time, breathe, take some deep breaths, practice your square breathing, practice your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, whatever, but you're stronger than you think you are. You will be there for the people you need to be there for, and it's all going to be okay, which honestly, I don't know to see that in a reading. I would love to see that in every reading, but this is in general a very positive reading. So if there's any other questions you have for me, maybe you would like me to expand upon a few things, Chet, by all means, hit me up. You have my personal contact information. You know how to reach me if you need more clarification. So with that, I wish you love and light, and we'll talk soon.